Welcome to another terrific tips episode. I am Terry, your host. That's why it's called terrific, right? Can't spell terrific without Terry. I am so excited to have my friend with us today. I've had the honor and the privilege of getting a chance to meet Miss Christina Stuart through the Women's Prosperity Network, which my listeners at this point have heard a couple of times. It's an amazing women's organization that's empowering, inspiring, and brings together some of the most incredible people I've ever had the honor and privilege of meeting. And Christina is one of them. So I'm excited to introduce you to Christina. And once you hear a little bit about her, you'll know why she's here on the show today. So, Christina Stuart is an international speaker. And I'm sorry, my dog has decided now's the time to snore and be obnoxious. Can you please get comfortable? Thank you. So, Christina is an international speaker and award-winning photojournalist of over 20 years. She is the giggler extraordinaire, as we've gotten a sneak peek to, and the soul-seer. I can't wait for you to experience what that means. Her laugh is contagious, and her eternally optimistic attitude is as well. Even as a survivor of child molestation, rape, and domestic violence, holy smokes, Christina. Wow. She finds the gifts in all of life's experiences, and she brings light and love to everyone she meets. And she really, truly does do that. She works with people on a soul level to help them share and shine their light on their personal path to happiness, healing, and self-love. She is a lifelong observer, and Christina can be laser focused to an issue of blocking success. She finds a way to do that. So we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure she stays focused on not blocking the success, right?
I find the blocks in their success, the things that are blocking their success.
Oh, I just misread that. That's all. Okay.
Helping them clear that so they open it up and don't have the blocks and they can find their success.
Oh, thank you so much. Transparency, clarity, it's a wonderful thing. She dives deep into the darkness of her clients' experiences and brings them out laughing, all shiny and new. Isn't that fun? She befriends the monsters under the bed, the boogeyman in the closet, and the ghosts of our past that are keeping us from true self-love, wealth, and joy. So now you know why my very talented and wonderful friend Christina is with us today. We've had a lot of amazing soul igniters on this show. And yes, Jamila and Casey, I did totally just steal your line, but that's okay. I love you. And so I'm going to give credit there. Jamila and Casey are my soul igniters, but we've had some amazing breath workers, healers on this show. And everybody has a unique gift and talent that they get to share. So Christina, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Terry. And it's a joy. I love our conversations whenever we connect, whether it's through WPN or just the conversations we've had on our own. You're so much fun and you're just a bright light in this world. And it's a joy to connect with you. So thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share more about me on the show and learn more about you and all your people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And that was probably the most entertaining introduction I've ever done because Sasha decided to make her appearance. So I don't know that I ever talk about her on the show. So if anybody hears deep breathing or snoring, it is not me in the audio. It is just my dog who.
Well, I have one that snores too, who's on right under the desk. So we may get it from both sides.
You might get it from both sides. So listeners, I'm sorry. We're not trying to put you to sleep, I swear. Christina, you went from being a photojournalist to being this soul seer. Like, how did that happen? Tell us about that transition.
Well, it actually wasn't much of a transition at all because that has been a gift my whole life. That's part of what made me such a great photographer and continues to make me a great photographer. As I had clients tell me for years that I have the gift of really seeing into their soul and I capture their essence and help them share that with the world. So it's something that I really have always done. The camera was a way of allowing me to express it in a tangible, real in this world way. And it was really fantastic experience to see the world through the lens of the camera and to get to know people and really see them transform in front of my lens. I mean, I could get people to go from, and kids, everything, super cranky to really shining their light. And so it was really good, kind of a good training ground for me to move to this next level of soul seeing and being able to help people and connect with people directly to their soul and introduce them to their soul. So it really was just kind of an extension of who I already am.
Yeah.
And it was my transformation of not continuing to hide behind the camera anymore and really own that ability as who I am. It's not because of the camera that I'm able to do that. And so that's really where the transformation and transition came for me, was accepting that piece of me as a whole being who I am and not using the excuse of the camera anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think particularly in this world, in the society that we live in, it's easy for people who have special gifts, who have skills and abilities beyond the tangible. It's easy to tie it to something tangible because we as a society are used to having tangible results, tangible
Right.
materials for whatever we're spending our money on, right? Or spending our time on. And so tying it to something tangible makes it probably easier to have sold before,
Right.
because you're not selling the soul stuff, you're selling the photo.
Right.
You're
Right.
just getting the soul stuff as the extra bonus,
Right.
the extra good stuff.
Absolutely. And when you're raised in a world like that, and I have always been a seer and a receiver of information on that soul and spiritual level, it just was, I didn't know that no one else did too. Like, not that, doesn't everybody? That kind of, when we have those gifts, we often think that everybody can do them. If it's easy for me, therefore it should be easy for you too. And so that was a learning curve for me as well, as no, not everybody can be the kind of photographer I am, and not everyone can receive information the way that I do.
Yeah.
And get to know people and help people shift and transform, before my eyes. Not many can do that. And so accepting that as the gift and really honoring it, and then teaching other people to honor their gifts as well, has been really fun and fantastic. And yeah, the tangible part is easier for people to, put a label on and understand, oh, you're a photographer, right? It's easy to put me in a category. And this year especially, I think we have all learned that all those categories and labels just went out the window. We were just like, what is happening? What is going on?
Have those labels helped you lately?
No. No. And really what I saw, and you may have experienced this personally or with, some of your guests or clients, is that it really was a time to be able to look at those labels or the little boxes we put ourselves in, or the boxes we allowed others to put us in, and say, that's really not who I am, or that's not working for me anymore, or, who am I? Let me just reevaluate who I am, who I'm spending my time with, who do I want to show up as? And so a lot of those questions were being, if we were listening, we were able to really connect and take advantage of that time.
Yeah.
That was what was happening, is that reflection, self-reflection, life reflection. It was an amazing, is still continuing to be an amazing experience if we allow it to be. So that's what I choose.
I agree. I totally agree. I think what has happened in our world has been devastating and challenging and sad for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
And it has also been revolutionary, enlightening, purifying, and beautiful for a lot of people. And it is all a matter.
Both sides.
Yeah.
A lot of it, it's not just one or the other. A lot of times it's intermingled. It's, with with a rebirth of ourselves also comes the shutting the door and the death of the other parts of ourselves. You know, we've got to let go of some things or some people, and sometimes literally death has occurred through this process. And so that too, you know, literally and figuratively allows for growth and change. You know, it kind of sometimes it forces us into that change.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure. So, what is something, because you shared here in your bio that you help people find the issue that's blocking their success?
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Well, part of it is I have been a channel and receiver of information and guided by soul, spirit, universe, God, source, or whatever you want to call it. Um, Lots of helpful beings I have been in contact with. And so I can, and actually Nancy Matthews from Women's Prosperity Network said this to me just in a conversation at an event. We were just connecting, and you know, we've known each other for years now, and I photograph all their events. And I said something, and she said, you know, that's exactly what I'm doing. And you laser focus in photography, and you laser focus with this too. Like I can go right into what I used to call, I go right for the jugular. But that's not as nice. And I've learned more compassion and, you know, a little more gentleness in my process over the years. But so I can really just get right into, you know, the crux of the matter, I guess, and what is keeping you from your success. What are your, you know, could be a fear, it could be an old behavior, it could be an old pattern, a thought, a story that we tell ourselves. And I can go very often, I'm led to the source of that. Sometimes it's an experience, you know, I'll say, well, what happened when you were 4? And be like, right there, let's do some work of that, you know, from that experience. And around that, and we don't realize that, yeah, some experiences that may happen when we're 2, 3, 4, 12, 15, 25, whatever, can impact how we relate to the rest of our lives and our world, our money relationship, our romantic relationships, our businesses. So it can impact us in lots of different ways. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, working directly with their soul, is we get information. I introduce people to their soul in a way that is structured, and there's a specific process to it. So you start building a relationship with it, not just, yes, of course I'm human and I have a soul. It's really teaching and learning how to communicate. So we're getting the information directly from your soul. So it knows all of your life, all of your experiences, all of the things that are affecting you. So we get that information directly from your soul that says, this is the issue, this is the thing we need to fix, and or change or learn, or, you know, I don't, you know, we're not broken. It's just more awareness and of who we are and who we're becoming that can allow for more healing. And once there's awareness, it's so much easier to see and understand and do something about. So that's how I get right to the issue, is I figure out what your soul wants to tell us. And then we go there. And it's really fantastic and fun in that, you know, I've had so many people who during sessions, they'll say, well, how do you know me so well? You know, there are people I may have had 1 or 2 conversations with. I'm like, how did you know all of this? Like, well, your soul told me. You know, like, it's not about me knowing you, it's your soul knows you. And now we have an outlet for it to express itself and educate you and teach you and guide you.
Yeah.
So it's been really an amazing process and structure to help people find where their life purpose and live in a way that is in alignment with that, that's true to them. So my coaching and my work is a little bit different in that, yes, I bring all my experiences, all of my training, all the coaching that I've received, you know, some specific activities or tasks or exercises that might help. And we're really being led by your soul. Your soul's telling us what to do next that works for you.
Yes.
So it's not about me saying, you should do this, right? Or like the teacher, That's not the kind of coach that I am. I'm like, let's go check in with your soul and see what your soul has to say and where to go from here. And then I have a team of fabulous beings who support and guide us as well. So
Okay.
I'm kind of just the translator, I guess.
Okay. And I think that's super important. So I'm thinking about my listeners who maybe are like, okay, holy smoke, we just jumped way into the deep end of the woo woo. What the hell is happening? So maybe we can back it up a step or two. Is
Sure.
there something that people need to do to prepare to meet themselves?
Not at all.
No?
No, because if this conversation piques an interest or resonates or any of that, that means you're ready to move forward. And just, I have very logical, scientifically brained people, clients who I work with. And I also have the very connected and woo-woo people. And I have the people who've never meditated in their life. It's a very broad spectrum of who is drawn to this. And it's not just that they're drawn to this, they're drawn to me. And and my light and my experiences that are able to support them in ways that they don't even understand or know yet. They just are like, I heard you, I saw you, and I had to connect.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I have a couple very science oriented people who are clients, and they are like, I don't know about all this, but I was drawn to connect with you. So let's work together. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. So what does this do for them? Like, I get connected to my soul, and then what? Then what happens? Like, how does this help me and serve me? Yeah.
Well, the way I've seen it I've been using this process and doing this for the last over 2 years. And I became a certified practitioner in this process and this modality in January. It was when I officially, it's a 5-month process. Thank you. And so it really is, once you get introduced and you do the work, because like any relationship, you don't just know everything about them when you first meet another person, right? Right. You have a conversation, you get to know each other, you learn a little bit, the more time you spend together, the more you trust the person, the more, the relationship itself is developed. So that's what this is about, is really once you're introduced, it's to continually build that connection. And I see it as like an advisory board, 24/7 advisory board for my business, for my personal life, for challenges I may be having, for anything. I can always tap in and ask. And the answers that I get are right for me. It's not, yes, it's totally on the woo-woo level. And I love it for that reason. And I get the compliment all the time from my clients that they love that I can be this connected and help them in this way and be so grounded at the same time. So you're going to get real life examples, real life experiences, real life ways of dealing with things. It's not just let's sit and just kumbaya for the rest of our life. No, there is also inspired action, and there's also doing things.
I was going to say there's things that need to be done. Yeah.
There's things that need to be done. It's just with this and me as a support and your soul as the support, and having that direct communication, the steps that you take and the things that you do are more in line and in total alignment with who you are, what your life path is, and what your purpose is in this lifetime. So you're going to serve your clients better. You're going to make more money. You're going to be making choices that are right for you in a way that serves the greater purpose of all the world, all humanity. And so when we're in alignment and truly in our center and who we are and who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to serve in this world, it happens. Yeah. And when we do that, we draw other people to us who are ready to take that action. We draw the right clients. So time is not wasted. You make more money, you get more clients, you get the right people who you want to work with, who resonate with and will benefit from your information and your business the most.
Yes.
So why waste your time on all the all the other excess stuff that's not in alignment with what your purpose is?
So this leads us to a conversation that me and you have had earlier off camera, but I kind of want to do it on camera.
Sure.
When we had very first had one of our conversations, I was at a crossroads of frustration with spin frogs about phone calls. And I'm all for talking to people. I love talking to people. Look, that's why the podcast exists, so that way I could talk to people.
Right.
Isolation was a very real thing when I launched this podcast, and it was very hard on me. I'm a people person. I like hugging my people, but it also has allowed me to expand and reach more people and talk to more people and have different conversations than what I was having before.
Mm-hmm.
And the question came up, well, I have a list of like 6,000 people who it would literally take me, if I was calling 5 people a day, it's literally going to take me the better part of 3 years to call these 6,000 people.
Right.
That seems like a huge elephant. And I know they say, well, eat the elephant one bite at a time, but still, God, this 6,000 people, this thing weighs 1,000,000 pounds. I don't want to pick up the phone because that sounds just painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked you, how do I make this easier on myself? And one of the things that you had walked me through was how you tap into your soul self to figure out where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a tip you'd be willing to share with other people today?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I'm so glad. No pressure or anything now that the
no,
camera's
no, it's funny because right as I was finishing up my last bit of this conversation, that conversation popped into my head and I was like, okay, we'll see if we go there. And you brought it right up. So I knew you were going to ask. So part of what that process is to get in alignment, right? So connect to soul star, heaven, source, God, whatever your above line is. And you can just say, like, I choose to align with God. I choose to align with prime source. I choose to align with the universe, right? So you want to get kind of tapped in above. And then I choose to ground deep into Mother Earth, or Earth. You don't have to say Mother if you don't want to. And then just breathe that in, connect with your heart, and, look at the list. Have, narrow it down to the top, the first page of 20. And once you're in alignment, and take those couple deep breaths and sit in that for as long as you feel necessary. And I have a few different testing methods. I'm not going to teach that at the moment just because they're a lot. I can if you want, but and just look at every name and ask, is this the right person to call? And be quiet and listen for a second. And if you hear no, then move to the next name. Is this the right person to call? Nope. This is the right person to call? Yes. Call that person. And then when you're done, hang up the phone. And you may not know, you go with the intention of just being open to the possibility of this person being a connection. Maybe they don't want to sign up for your program, right? Which is what part of what you were wanting those conversations was, you were starting a new program, right?
Yeah. So
maybe they don't want to start up with your program, but maybe they have 4 people who would be interested and who would sign up for it. So then, right? So the you don't know what the yes may be about in calling this person. It may have nothing to do with the original reason why you have this list in front of you wanting to call anyway. It could just be you end up having a really great conversation and it brightens your day. That was the reason for you making the call. So if you just go in with the idea and the intention of, I'm open to calling the right people and connecting with the right people today, and then going down that list, yes, no, and being open to what the conversation can evolve into, then you may be surprised. You may get all the clients you could ever imagine. You may get, new clients, you may get referrals, you might get invited to dinner, you never know where the conversation is going to go if you're open to it. And but yeah, getting in alignment first. I do that before I write anything, any content. Before I wrote the bio that I sent, that was divinely given. I sat in, tapped in, got in alignment, talked to my soul, and I was like, hey, give me the words that are going to inspire, that are truly, me, and express my mission and who I am. And I sat, and a lot of it, I sat with my eyes closed at the keyboard and just like, because I can type pretty well anyway, but and then fix the grammatical errors and punctuation and misspellings when I open my eyes. But I just flowed in it and then asked at the end, is this the right, did I hear you correctly? Is this the right word? Is this the right sentence? Do I need to add anything? Do I need to subtract anything?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that I read, every choice I make is a quick check-in. Am I on the right track? Because I want to make that decision from a place of alignment and from my heart, you know, being connected and aligned with my heart too. So
what I loved about that exercise is not so much the, okay, now I have the list of names to call, but what came out of it for me is where to start. And what I ended up thinking about is when I tapped in was, well, the most logical place to start is who have I talked to in the last 3 months? Because the people that I've talked to in the last 3 months, or have opened my emails in the last 3 months, or have attended an event in the last 3 months, those are the people who are most in tune with things that I might have going on, or be most interested in the things that I have going on right now. Somebody that I talked to last year isn't going to necessarily, I mean, they might care, but the chances of them caring is significantly less than somebody who I've talked to in the last quarter. And so that took that 6,000 database and narrowed it way down. Yeah. And then I was able to start. And what was interesting is I did go into it with the, you know, I would sit down and say, there's a question in Brendan Burchard's journal that says, who do I need to connect with today? And I love that question because you can ask it without having a journal in front of you.
Right.
I usually ask it when I'm in the shower and 5 names will pop across my face while I'm in the shower. So then I'm like, I didn't even have to try. Now I know who the 5 people are that I need to talk to today because there's a reason they just popped into my brain.
Yes. And you don't need to know what that reason is.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's part of the fun of it. It's like, oh, I wonder why I need to call. And then the phone doesn't weigh 6,000 pounds.
No, then you're excited to have the conversation.
Right.
And what's interesting is one of the ladies that I had called, just to see, like, because she had popped into my brain, I just reached out to see how she was doing. Not only did she pass me 5 referrals for the program, she convinced her boss at the time to buy her seat.
Nice.
I wasn't expecting that. And I thought that was really, really cool. And what was cooler is it was her boss at the time. So she's been in the program now 12 weeks and she's got a new job. And her boss at the time still paid for it.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the magic that happens when you get in alignment and you're standing in your power.
Yeah.
And then making the choices and decisions. And it's so much of our life has been, and we're taught to work hard, go get it, pound the pavement, right? Go knocking on doors. You got to go get it, work hard. Like nothing's going to come free. Like all of those stories that we've been raised with.
Yeah.
And then if you just take 5 minutes in the shower to say, who do I need to connect with today? Right? Like that's way freaking easier. Right? And then sit and listen. Like that's the part of it too, is that we may ask the question, and then if the answer doesn't come quickly enough, like that's awesome that it showed up for you. You know, 5 names pop up when you're washing your hair, and I call that connecting on the fly. Like if I'm in the shower, I got 5 minutes. Be like, hey, soul, what you got for me? I'm washing my hair. You know.
Well, it's funny because we always talk about, and we hear this all the time, and I think this is part of the human condition, right? We get our best ideas in the shower. And the reason is a couple of reasons. One is you're not fully conscious yet when you're getting in the shower. In most cases, you're just rolling out of bed, you're doing your morning routine, you jump in the shower. In most cases, not in every case, but in most cases, that's the order of operations, right? So as you're standing in the hot water with your eyes half closed and you're lathering up, your brain is like starting to turn on. But your subconscious is still connected. Your subconscious is still in the dream state. So your subconscious is like, quick, we have 5 minutes to download all of the important information.
Give it, hurry up.
Get it in there. And that's why when you're in the shower, you're like, oh, I just had a great idea. Damn it, I'm all wet. I have nothing to write. Don't go away. Hold that thought.
Repeat it out loud. That helps.
Yeah. You say it out loud. And I usually do, because about that time my husband's walking into the bathroom and I'm like, oh, I was just thinking. Listen to this.
Yes.
Or I'll get out of the shower and I'll find my closest pad of paper and I'm writing down the idea, because sometimes it's not for me. Sometimes it's for a client, right? Or sometimes it's for somebody in the community that I just need to reconnect with. And I'm like, oh, I've got something for them. I need to connect them.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just the coolest thing ever.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's allowing yourself to be open to that.
Yeah. And that does come faster too, I think, if you're aware of what's actually happening and you know what to ask for. So speaking of that, are there questions that we could be asking ourselves that allows us to kind of start to open that channel up?
I often ask, what's my next right move? Because, or what's the right next move? Because that, it can be, sometimes the answer is lay in the hammock and read, you know, like, and again, pausing and listening for the answer. Sometimes it's calling a specific person, you know, names might show up. Sometimes it's what are you grateful for? You know, and for me, sometimes it's just a word that'll pop up, or, you know, like I've gotten like, get up and clean out the closet, you know, like, and sometimes it's go write, you know, go sit and create content. So, and not judging, that's the other part of it. Often we will, if we ask the question, awesome, that's a great start. Then you've got to pause and listen, you know, long enough to receive the information. And often we are very impatient and want it, you know, we want it right now. well, that's not how the information is always given.
Damn it.
So it's what?
I said, damn it, why not?
Sometimes it is, yes, like in the shower, like, yes, all these bing, 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 all these, you know, lights flashing, great ideas. And sometimes it's just not coming. So you have to be open to the ideas and the inspiration to show up in various forms. So I have been, animals come to me in the craziest ways, and the Native American traditions and lots of ancient traditions believe that animals have certain messages when they come to you. So we're getting a little more woo-woo. So
I'm excited though. I want to know, what are the animals saying?
It's so fun. Ted Andrews has a book called Animal Speak, and it pretty much is like my Bible. Like I've got notes in it. I highlight, I underline. I've got, you know, dates of when animals came to me so I can reflect back. It's awesome. And so I was introduced to this book by a friend's mom I was in college. So many years ago, 20 years ago. And I still use it to this day. And animals come to me in weird ways. Like I live in Florida, so there are lizards everywhere. So that doesn't seem to me like an odd experience, because they really literally are all over the place all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Well, there was one time I was walking around taking my other set of dogs, my older dogs, this was years ago, for a walk around the lake at the condo development where I lived. And again, lizards, you know, crossing my path, and I'm not thinking anything of it. And then all of a sudden, I'm not near any trees, no bushes, it's just grass. And I'm walking, and a lizard jumped onto my calf. And I about freaked out. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. I hear you. I'll go look up what lizards mean, right? Like, and another one, spiders. Spiders often come to me as well. And spiders are very about creativity, about infinity, or their shape. And lizards are like dream state and transformation and shedding the old, right? You think of lizards shed their skin. So spiders, I'll be driving, and it often happens at night. I'll be driving, doesn't matter. I've had 4 cars. I think actually, now I'm thinking about it, probably all of my cars that this has happened in. A spider will drop down while I'm driving from the roof of my car, and just hang out and stop in perfect view right in my eye line. And I'm like,
I'd be freaking out.
Well, I've learned it's happened so many times. I'd rather that than like, walk into the spider web, which I used to do. And I'll go like, thank you for your message. I will go, I'll be reminded of all of what you have to say to me. And I'll go like this with the web and like put it out the window, or, like, so it doesn't fall in my lap. Like, thanks for the message. Please don't make me wreck my car.
I love you. I mean it. Go over here now.
And go over there. Yeah.
More power to you. Cause, okay. So I've got to I've got to go down this rabbit hole for a minute.
Well, the point is being open to the messages coming to you in various ways. Like, so that's one of the ways that the universe knows how to communicate with me, is because I'm open to that. I've, 20 years of taking note of how animals are showing up for me. They've come to me in my dreams. I've had dreams about kangaroos and white tigers and like crazy animals in my dreams that you're not going to just come across walking your dog. So hopefully, right? So
I mean, depends on where you live.
Right. It may come as lyrics in a song that, trigger that idea, like in the shower, right? The lyrics to a song may trigger a memory or a dream or an idea. So, being open to all of that, or the inspiration of the name popping into your head, that's another way that the message comes through.
I have a jukebox that plays in my head in the morning. I wake up with music. And so every time I wake up with some obscure song or another that I haven't actually listened to in a long time, and I'll look at my husband and I'll say, okay, me on another universe is having a dance party right now because this is what we're listening to.
That happens to me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of those ways are ways that our soul, our spirit, the universe communicates with us. Awesome. And so it's just being open to, the answer may not come right in the form that we think, or, the moment like, oh, I'm waiting. It's going to show up when you're in the shower the next day, or comes in a dream, or an animal jumps on your leg. Like, it's being open to the messages coming in ways. And there are ways of telling the universe and your soul, like, I want the information to come to me in a specific way that I can understand.
And that doesn't make me crash my car.
Right.
Minor detail.
Yeah. It's just being open and aware.
I had posted into the association group on Facebook a couple of weeks ago during Halloween week, like, what's something that freaks you out? And for me, it's spiderwebs. So I have the guy doing the spiderweb dance, like trying to get the cobweb off of his face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. What's weird about that though, is when I was a child, 10, maybe 12, somewhere in there, my cousin's neighbor had a tarantula as a pet. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I wanted a tarantula. I had never even seen it, but I wanted a tarantula. So my parents took me to the zoo, and then I saw one and I'm like, oh no, I don't want a tarantula. Oh no. No. It's a giant spider and it's furry.
And they're very furry, yeah.
No. It was so funny. And ever since then, I'm like, spiders, no. So I had a spider. I went up to Virginia to see my parents when they lived in Virginia. It's about a 2-hour car ride. And I'm on my way back down, and out of nowhere, this spider, decent sized spider, comes trucking out across my dashboard
yeah.
and stops at the top of my steering wheel. I'm on the phone. Yeah. I'm driving. It's dark, and it's me and this spider. I'm screaming on the phone. My husband is on the other line, and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, there's a spider staring at me, and I don't have a way to kill it right now. I was like, hold on. I'm going to pull over. And I'm like, don't you move. I'm looking at it the whole time. I'm like, you better not move. I pull over and I take my shoe off. I'm like, don't you move. I'm taking my shoe off. And I get him. I like squish him and I'm like, okay, I'm okay now. But had I known that it was a matter of creativity, I might not have killed him.
They bring big messages of creativity and connection and spirituality. Yeah, big. And I would refrain from squishing spiders because if it's a female, they carry their eggs on their back. And I have known people, fortunately, this hasn't happened to me because I catch them and release them or I shoo them away or something. That many more than one will erupt and you will have many hundreds of spiders instead of the one that you just squished. So I don't squish spiders ever because I've had people be like, yeah, I killed a spider, and then hundreds of them like spurted out of the spider, and all these baby spiders were everywhere. So I don't do that. I would rather just be like, well,
I would just die.
What?
I would just die.
Yeah.
I'm dead. Like,
so from now on, what I would recommend is like they come in my dashboard and on my windshield and everything. I mean, it was not 2 days of owning this new car that I have. Well, I've had it for over a year now, but I just always had a spider in my other cars. And so I was like, oh, I've got this new car. I'm not going to have a spider. This is great. Not 2 days. I think it was the second day I drove it. The first time I drove it at night, here drops the spider. And I was like, ah. So I just like, thank you. I receive your message. I will, what do you have to, and you can have, it's totally, my mom thinks I'm crazy. I have conversations with them. I'm like, what, if I have the time, I'm driving, right? So sometimes I'll just say, thank you for your message. I will look up what that means. And you look up animal totem, like you look up spider totem, TOTEM, to see what some of the meanings are. And so I'll just tell them, thank you very much for your visit. I will be sure to look up what your meaning is. Please don't make me crash my car. Or I'll say, I'll have the conversation. What is your message? And that's, sitting in, getting in alignment again and having that conversation. What's the message you have for me?
Wow.
And being open to receiving what the information shows up as.
Super cool. Christina, this has been a blast. I can't believe what time it is already. I want to know what frogs mean. So you're going to have to look up for me the frog totem since spin frogs. I have frogs everywhere. They're in every room of every house. I have one on my ankle. So they're everywhere. Would love to know what they mean because I think they're just the coolest things ever.
Yeah,
but this has been delightful. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you so that they can learn more about their souls and tap into the potential that they have hidden inside of them that might be blocking them from their success that they deserve and desire?
Well, I'm actually totally restructuring website stuff. So that's fun.
Yeah.
But by the time stuff gets posted, like you said, it's, we got a little bit of time between recording and posting, right? So Christina M. Stuart .com is going to be where you're going to find a lot of the soul stuff. So my first name is Christina. My middle initial is M for Marie, and my last name is Stuart. So ChristinaMStuart.com is going to be where more of the soul stuff is. I have my Christina Stuart photography page too. You're welcome to go to that. That's got some information on it currently. But there's going to be more of this specific stuff on the other site. So
super exciting. I do have one more question for you before we leave. Mm-hmm. What is one thing you wish you knew before you started?
Before I started in business?
And before you started anything? Whatever you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. I wish that I knew how to trust myself more. And really trusting that those gut feelings, learning to trust the information that was coming to me. We all have that gut feeling, and for the good things and the not good things, right? And so the more I've learned to trust that, the better life has been. So I wish that I knew to start how to trust myself more. Yeah.
That is so good. Everybody wishes they knew how to trust themselves more. So listeners, you now have something to ask Christina when you get in touch with her.
Yes, I have ways that can help with that.
The first step to helping us trust ourselves more, especially as entrepreneurs. It's a big
Yeah.
problem for entrepreneurs is the mindset and trusting yourself, because you don't have a boss that's saying X, Y, and Z needs to get done.
Right.
So you're creating this X, Y, and Z, and how do you trust if that X, Y, and Z is the thing that you need to do or not? Ooh, that's a question for Christina, and she can help you answer that in your one-to-one.
Lots of ways, lots of fun
ways. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I so appreciate it.
Thank you really for having me. I love you and you're fabulous. And I just enjoy every connection we have together. So I'm so glad that we have run across each other's paths, and I love supporting you and introducing people to you and sharing information and just chatting. So I'm honored that you had me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel the same. And listeners, until next time.